Community-led growth pioneers like Grace Beverly turned purpose and authentic connection into a brand that went from 0 to 30 million in revenue within 3 years, completely through the power of her community. In this video, I'm going to show you how building your community is the superpower that you need for your startup, small business, or solopreneur adventure, how it actually drives growth. Then I'm going to talk you through how you can set it up and grow it, even if you don't even have your first follower. And finally, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into 2025 and the emerging trends in community so you can get ahead of the game and grow faster than your competitors. And if all of this resonates with you, do drop a subscribe, because I teach small brands, startups and solopreneurs how to do the big moves marketing that really isn't in their wheelhouse. So first, what do we actually mean by community? Community is often defined as a group of people who share common goals, values or interests that interact with each other, forming a sense of belonging and connection. The world has changed. Consumers aren't just buying products, they're buying into brands' values and finding companies that reflect who they think they are or who they believe they are. That is why, as we head into 2025, communities are not just a nice to have, they are the game changer to set you up for success. I'm Gina. I'm a marketing director from South London. I'm actually the marketing director for an esports team. I've grown a predominantly online fandom to a thriving community of 8 million people, which in turn drove our D2C revenue up by 300%. And I'm here to boost the power of your business by building your community for you. So how does community actually drive growth? Well, we've all seen the stats to back it up. 81% of companies say community positively impacts customer retention and loyalty. Companies with strong communities experience 6% higher revenue growth rates than those without. And consumers involved within brand communities spend 19% more on average. What we're seeing is that revenue isn't just about transactions, it's about building relationships. Let's take Melissa's Wardrobe, my favorite influencer. She's gone from a fashion influencer to a community-driven powerhouse, leveraging Instagram storytelling to build a faithful following. She has built up a community of over 1.2 million people, and her hashtag Mel Made Me Do It is the driver of places like Zara, Ren and M&S selling out of products that she recommends. Melissa's community is so strong, she is the first person ever to do a collab with Coffee of the Moment, Blank Street. She has built an entire brand, an entire business, and her own products around the power of her community. We love to see it. So what's the cheat code to getting started? How do you actually build your community? Well, really, all that Grace, all that Melissa, all that Gymshark, all that anyone really does is quite simple. Building your community before you even have your first follower is formulaic. What you need to do as a brand, show your purpose, create space for interaction, and give value. What's fantastic about us as small businesses, startups, and solopreneurs is that we have a story. We have a reason to exist. The first section of showing your purpose every day is literally that. Tell your story. Use your social, use your content. Talk about your purpose daily. You need to put your purpose out into the world so people can see it. Regardless of whether you have 1 follower or 10,000 followers, your social and content should show your purpose every day. So that's step 1. And whilst you're showing your purpose every day, you want to also create a space for interaction. And social is fantastic and you're using it to show your purpose, but platforms that allow for direct interaction between users are far more valuable when creating space for community. To do this, you want to think about your ideal customer and audience. What platforms do they already use? What are they already aware of? Creating a Discord channel, creating a profile on Circle, or a much unloved but very powerful space is Facebook communities. And my ultimate favorite place to build a community is Slack. Glossier launched their community by providing the first 1,000 customers with access to a dedicated Slack channel. In this, they not only got to talk to other people who had the same values and interests, but they had direct access to the company. This sense of belonging is heightened because it is real-time interaction and complete access. It's hugely powerful in building communities, so if your audience has a propensity to understand Slack, I guarantee that building your community through a program like Slack will grow your community faster than if you use social channels. And the last step, you've shown your purpose through your social, you're doing that every day so people know how to align themselves with you, you've built a space for interaction, you've built a space for people to engage and be their true selves. And then the last thing that you have to do is you have to give value. Community is not about transaction, it's about giving value. And you as a brand, a startup, a small brand, a solopreneur, need to give people value every time they come to your community before asking for something back. And that value can be in the form of content, in webinars, in workshops, or even just in starting threads and getting conversations going. If you are building a community from scratch with just one follower or no followers at all, by showing your purpose, by creating a space for just that one person to go into, and by dropping value daily, you are going to grow your community. So that is how you take your first follower all the way to your community. But what does the future look like? What is 2025 saying for community? If you subscribe to this channel, and if you don't, hit subscribe, you will know that I've done a couple of episodes on the future of AI and marketing, because it is shifting the way that we work, and it's something that small brands, startups, and solopreneurs need to be aware of. So do go give that a watch. But the rise of AI and marketing means that smart startups, small brands, and solopreneurs will use AI for active assistance and additional employees. And what that means is it will free up time in which to focus on community. Community, human interaction, human empathy and emotions is something that AI will never, ever replace. Even though sometimes I do find myself getting to a bit of an existential chat with Claude AI, it's never going to give you a hug. It's never going to replace human connectivity. So in the coming years, we will see the importance of community rise because people will begin to crave even more that in real life connection and knowing that you are part of something bigger than just yourself. But within community, we also see some more emerging trends for 2025. In the 90s, Bill Gates was quoted in saying, "The internet is becoming the town square for the global village of tomorrow." And he couldn't have been more on the money. The last 5 years have been instrumental in building the future of community. And before I actually give you a little hack in which to build your community faster, let's get a little bit of context behind these new trends that we're seeing emerge within the importance of community. As of 2024, approximately 5.35 billion people, which is 67.1% of the global population, are active internet users. This means over 2/3 of the world can potentially connect with each other instantaneously across continents. The rise in this digital connection peaked in 2020 with COVID. Looking for online connection more than ever, Discord users grew from 56 million in 2019 to 140 million by the end of 2020. Which is a 150% increase. Alongside this, Twitch saw a 99% increase in total watch time. People were online and connecting digitally more than ever. As we exited the lockdown, there was a huge craving for in-real-life experiences. By 2022, Discord had seen a 40% reduction in peak usage and online community engagement dropped by approximately 35%. In real life was back. Eventbrite reported a 78% increase in event bookings in 2023 compared to 2022. This trend continued into 2024. I have seen countless run clubs pop up, community is back more than ever, and in real life is big. But as we head into 2025, we're actually seeing this trend start to wind down. From accessibility to access to transport to some people just honestly not feeling safe in certain spaces, 2025 will be the year of hybrid events. As a small brand, startup or solopreneur, you need to focus on how you are creating these hybrid interactions. How does your in real life match with your digital presence, making a completely inclusive and open space for all of your community? We've seen this at the latest Adobe Max conference as well. They had an in real life event with real-time translation, real-time Q&A, creating a space for global access whilst also retaining that feeling of belonging and community that you get from being part of a space at the same time as other people. As we reevaluate the new year, startups, small brands and solopreneurs that can offer hybrid solutions will come out on top. For this, you should think about digital catch-ups of in-real-life events, streaming in-real-life events, enabling spaces where people can ask questions before and after, even if they are not in the same room. The way we look at events for drivers of our community will also change in 2025. In the past few years, we've seen a lot of events that are very product-led. Even our favourite community-led brand, Tala, their events are very much based around their product and the use cases for their product. In 2025, we will see this shift to value-driven events. These events will be based around activities and things that drive value for the audience rather than linking to a product. Estrid are a great example of this. They are a Razor subscription service, but their latest event was welcoming the summer solstice. They understand what their audience, what drives community, so their events are not based on product, they're based on value. We've also seen this with Gymshark. Where they used to have purely workout events for their community, they have moved further into wellness and speaker events, giving value that isn't intrinsically linked to the product. In 2025, your community will be based on the value you can provide, not on your product. And the last one. I know we're still coming off the back of Wicked, where we've seen, honestly, 400 different brand collabs, but community is over collab. 2025 is going to be the year of co-creation. When we look at the shift from collab to co-creation, this will happen in two ways, and we have some brands doing it fantastically already. When I Am Julia Hyun was on the search for the best hoodie, her series went viral. Gap maximized on this. Gap invited her to create her own hoodie. It wasn't a collaboration, it was literally using this influencer to create the perfect hoodie for her audience, because Gap understood they had the product, she had the audience that was on this journey to build the perfect hoodie. So why do a collaboration? Why not work on her to create it? At the same time, Lego launched Lego Ideas. This is where members of the community could put forward ideas of what products Lego could create. These two examples of influencer-led co-creation and community-led co-creation are going to be the biggest trend in 2025. We are no longer going to see the simple collabs where we just put two brands together and create a product for the community. We are going to see co-creation at its finest. This means that brands will be able to create products that have buy-in from the very beginning, that tell more stories, and ultimately feed into that machine of growing their community, because it fosters that sense of purpose, belonging, community, and working together for a common goal, value, or interest. If you are a small brand or a startup or a solopreneur, you need to harness this trend of 2025 by bringing your community on board and taking them on the journey to co-create your products and your services. You can do this through your channels, through your Slack, through your community that you've set up, by asking questions, inviting their feedback, or you can set up your own version of what Gap did by working with another small brand, another startup that can also drive value, bringing your two audiences together. And finally, I promised you a hack, and this is the absolute cheat code. In 2025, the way that you as a small brand, startup, or solopreneur is going to grow your community is by sitting back and letting them do the work. Empowering your audience and spotlighting those in your community is a way to not only breed more belonging and community, but also take the heavy lifting off you. Brands like Peachy Den have done this fantastically by creating a newsletter that features their community. This content is generated from their audience, from their fans, and makes people feel like they are interacting with real people within that community. Instead of one person and one brand talking to them, they get the sense of other people being like them, and it grows their interest and it grows their fandom. So, for the biggest hack, get your spotlight on your community and get them to tell their stories as well. Okay, that was a lot. Let's just take a quick recap of all of our main points, because community in 2025 is going to change your business. The things I hope you've taken away from today: real community is based on shared interests, goals, and values. True community is not transactional, and the power of community for brand growth is huge. Community is built by showing your purpose, creating space for interaction, and giving value. The rise of AI not only gives us more time to focus on what matters, but also shows human interaction and shared emotion is more important than ever. The future of community activations is going to be hybrid. Events need to drive value for your audience, not showcase the benefits of your brand. Collaboration will be replaced by co-creation. And if you want to get ahead, spotlight your audience. I hope that's helped. Community is going to be the biggest driver of growth in 2025, and this should set you up for success. Please do like, subscribe, and I'll speak to you next week.